I'm Angie, and I am an intuitive life coach. This is Wendy Liu, good friend of mine, amazing healer and intuitive. And she is a collaborator of a circle community. It's called Empath Ritual. It's a community of light walkers, and they provide support and multi-sensory meditation each month. They come out with new content.
New one every month, yep.
For the 5D energy, which is really awesome. And I've been in the circle since month one, let's say.
You have that,
and
yeah.
It's been amazing. So I'll have, after we are finished with the live, Wendy, be sure to pop the link in to wherever they can go to find out more about the circle, because it's really awesome. Okay. And Wendy writes this amazing monthly energy report in the circle that you can read. It's super helpful. So
yeah, we've already started March. So we've already started tuning into March for the meditation. So
oh, good. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's so
March
good.
is going to be very different from February, if anybody's wondering, in a good way.
Okay. So. Good.
Yeah. Coming to the energetic new year, it's going to be good.
Yes. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. So Wendy and I decided to talk about the full moon today. And we've just been on chatting for about the last half an hour about the full moon and what we were noticing, and a couple things that were coming up, that like Wendy was saying, the self-love theme. And then I did a live about a week and a half ago, and I've really been noticing, I was talking about the toxicity. I feel like that's coming up around us, like anywhere where there's been toxic stuff, it's just like so front and center and loud. Like this frequency isn't a place where we're going to hang out anymore. And so I've just noticed that anything toxic is just either become like bringing itself into the awareness, or I'm just naturally drawn to do things to release toxins. I don't know if anybody that's live has noticed that. Wendy, has anything like that come up for you?
Absolutely. Well, I just, in the last few days, even just kind of got a new motivation to, I had kind of fallen away from, I eat very, very healthy. As Angie knows, I'm a super health nut, and I don't put anything in my body that, it does not nurture it or nourish it. And I had gotten into some bad habits again. And just the last few days, all of a sudden I was like, I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore. I'm going to make sure that, and I'm being drawn more to, like you were saying, the toxins. It's like the citrus, I'm being more drawn to citrus, which actually makes sense coming into spring, but citrus are great detoxers, especially grapefruit, tangerine. Orange is is a huge anti-tumoral. I mean, citrus has amazing healing properties. And so, yeah, I've been kind of drawn to more that kind of thing that I know somewhere, right? So on some level, I know it's going to detox me, but it's not a conscious thing. It's more like, oh, I'm craving it because my body knows it's time to get rid of these things. And I feel like they're coming, we always say they're coming, the stronger they're coming, the more ready you are to let go of them. So it's like a final goodbye. It's a chance to just one last look, and then it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely
it's such a great feeling. And it's not always the best feeling when you're immediately looking at it or staring at it in the face. Right. It's in your awareness. But at the same time, it's like, oh, good, I can finally let this go, because when we don't have awareness of it, well, then how do you do anything about it? You're kind of stuck just, walking through the pattern and just being the pattern, right? And then all of a sudden we get this awareness, and it's just like, oh yeah, that really isn't serving me. So that's cool about what are you mixing? Because by the way, you guys, Wendy does amazing essential oil blends. If anybody is ever interested in that, she has a whole business around creating essential oil blends that are so amazing. And I've ordered a few for like specific things that I had going on. So when you're saying you're drawn to citrus, are you making like a certain blend or something that you would want to share with us?
I haven't yet, but I could. Like, that's definitely been in the back of my mind, but it's been more actual foods recently. Like, I actually was craving grapefruit, and I'm not a grapefruit. I don't like grapefruit, but my son had we're visiting my son, and he had a bunch of grapefruit. He's actually on this huge, just to talk about people who are, not that he's not aware, but he's definitely still very caught up in the 3D world. He's an EMT, which is can be a very low vibe world. But he is completely taken charge of his physical health and is on this, I hate the word, but he's on this diet. which, he would like it for it to be a lifestyle change, which involves a lot of detoxers. And so I'm at his house and I'm looking at the grapefruit going, I kind of want one of those. And I hate grapefruit, but I love grapefruit oil. And so, yes, I would definitely recommend, like, what comes to mind right now is one of my favorite blends is tangerine and peppermint, just those two together. I call it tangerine. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
That's cool.
I'm sure I didn't coin that, but I would put that, not only is it a detoxer and it wakes you up, but it also clears mental fog. So just those two oils are amazing too. I put them in the diffuser together. And when we were, we unschool largely right now, but when we need to focus on something, that is a beautiful blend to put in, just two oils, and they're both are easy to find. Tangerine is my favorite, I think, is my favorite citrus detoxer, although grapefruit is more powerful, and lemon. So I've been drawn to putting lemon in my water. If you don't do that already, I highly recommend get a good lemon oil, make sure it's food grade. One drop in your first glass. That is all you need for the whole day. If you do more than that, you actually may find like your kidneys aching a little bit because it's really working, right? And so it's a gentle cleanse. And so, but one drop in your first glass of water, I put it in, on my 32-ounce bottle, and I put one drop of lemon, and I can taste it in 32 ounces of water, because one drop of essential, it's like half a lemon, one drop.
Wow.
And so, it's a lot in that little drop, right? So I highly recommend that. It's going to start you on the detoxing from, right when you get up, and help you get through the whole day like that. Even if that's all you do, that's a huge change. And I always tell people, we get overwhelmed by everything that we feel like all the things we have to change. Do one thing. When that one thing is instinctual, do another thing. When it becomes part of your life, then do another thing. It's so we beat ourselves up, but really baby steps is totally fine.
That's so definitely true. I have a tendency to overdo it. Like
Me too.
when I am wanting to make a change or something, I don't know, chime in, you guys, if anybody else does this, but I'll be like, I'm gonna, and then I'll just like go, like, say it's like an exercise routine, or, it's something with changing my diet or whatever, like I'll go extreme, and then, I'll have like the backlash of like, this isn't sustainable,
Right. Like 4 hours.
And then I'll be like super sore or whatever. And, I can barely brush my teeth. And it's like, it is so much better to take baby steps, because like, okay, so here's an example. Last summer, I decided like, I really wanted to sculpt and tighten and like really have a strong core, right? Because people that have a strong core, they don't have any back issues. You remember this? Yeah. So it was like midsummer, and I decided, I was going to do all these core things, and I found like 3 things online that I really wanted to do. And I kind of at first really struggled to do them. And just like any exercise routine, right? It was really hard. And, I was just laboring to get to the end of these exercises. Obviously, I really needed them. And it's so funny because now, and I really let myself, I stepped back and I was like, I'm going to step it up slow. Like I'm going to add 10 more reps of the exercises I'm doing each day, or 5, or I can't even remember what I did, because I really struggled at the beginning and was super sore. And now I think it's kind of funny that I had to, and it obviously worked for me adding just a few each day, because now I do them and I'm like, why did I ever think this was hard? Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny how we make those changes, and then, they become habits, which it's a good habit to strengthen.
And then you're
core.
like, you realize you just don't even want to get on with your day until you've done it. Right. You're like, well, it's just part, and it's not a struggle. It's more of a accomplishment, right? It's like, oh, I did it. And you just really, you want to do it.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Routine. But I love what you said about the lemon too, because I would be someone that would buy the lemon and be like, I have to put like 20 drops, just like, I would go like all out. But you're right. It's like, and if you did want to add something more later, like I feel like it is a build to all of this, right?
A lemon, and honestly, my son, who's again on this new kind of lifestyle change, which I'm so proud of him, because he figured it out all on his own, right? It wasn't anything that I pushed on him. Is he just figured out, he tried this diet of his friends and he felt so much better. And that's what it's all about, right? But he turned me on to, I now sometimes do for balance, for alkaline balance, right? pH balance, a drop of lemon and a drop of lime in your water.
Okay.
And it tastes really good. And you can get those oils anywhere. Just make sure they're food grade, please, because I don't want anybody coming to me saying it didn't do anything. Well, if it's not food grade, and it's gonna say, sorry, I'm getting messages popping up.
Okay.
It's gonna say that it's if it's not food grade, it's gonna say do not ingest. And I would say if it says do not ingest, then you don't even want to buy those oils.
Okay.
Those are not. I always say if you can't drink them, ditch them. That's my motto. So why would
I think
you
I
put
saw
it
that on your website. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
my website. That's the top of my
That's so
website.
cute. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the
Lemon and lime
is
oil.
really good.
I'm
And
gonna
it
get that.
balances that tartness, right? Because lime is a little more sweet. And so it balances the tartness of the lemon. That's why we love lemon lime soda, right? It's one of the favorite sodas in the whole world, I think, because that combo is just really, it's a very good balance of flavors. So, and it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
But again, you don't need to do it in more than your first bottle, or what I know everybody has the bottles now, right? Nobody drinks a glass of water anymore. And so you really don't need to do it more than that, because I have experienced that where I was doing it I drink a lot of water. So every bottle I was putting a drop or two, and my kidneys were actually sore. And I had a friend say, well, you're overworking them. There's no reason to do that. A gentle cleanse is okay. Your body will tell you, right? If you're doing too much.
Yeah. Well, and the acid balance that your kidney, I mean, I'm not by any means an expert or a doctor or anything.
I know we're not,
but like, I know the acid balance sometimes, like if you go, with too much acid, then that can be hard for your kidneys to maintain or to regulate,
so the lemon
right?
and lime
Bring yourself into
combo
balance.
is probably
lemon
perfect
lime.
for,
I
and it's
love
probably
that.
perfect for what's going on with our bodies right now too.
Yes.
With this energy, like we were talking about, the purging is just kind of an almost subconscious now. It's like we're craving what will help us purge on the physical. Our bodies are going through a lot, you guys, so much. And the self-care is super important. And this is part of self-care. And again, there's no reason to overdo it like Angie and I would. There's no reason to do too much. I've always been like that too.
Baby steps are better.
Yeah. If I found out something was good for me, I always, just dove in whole hog. And it's, everything in moderation, right? Like that is actually a true statement. You don't need, even broccoli and spinach. If you eat too much, it's going to harm your body. So you just have to be smart. Just listen to your body. This is a huge time of, we were talking about too, this before we got on, we were talking about, we both agreed, we're still being asked to rest a lot. We're still being asked to stay in hibernation and not worry about action quite yet, not big action, right? Like this is still a slow time. We're still energetically in winter, in the time of hibernation. And so it's a perfect time to start slowly waking up our bodies and slowly getting toward that. Because in the spring, our bodies naturally purge anyway. It's why we get spring colds. It's why, a lot of people experience, there's a kind of a surge, and I hate to bring it up because hopefully I won't manifest it, but there's a surge in stomach issues in the spring because our bodies are purging, getting ready for the new, the reset of spring. But it really is the energetic new year as far as we're concerned, with the journey that we're on. Obviously we're still in the hibernating energy. And so, you think about people making New Year's resolutions in January 1st, when we're still supposed to be in the middle of hunkering down, of taking care of ourselves and staying in, and even eating heavier foods and resting more. And then they beat themselves up when they can't maintain it. Well, we're not, the energy does not lend to that at that time of year. So we're coming into it now in March, but yeah, we're still being asked, I think, and I think you had agreed with that. We're still being asked to rest a lot. We're not done with that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I resonate fully with the hibernation, especially like so much of the country has been under these huge bands of snow, right? We get like a couple day break and then we're back under the snow again. So I think that says it all right there, that even the energy of the planet is saying, go within, relax.
Yep, the groundhog saw his shadow
yet, but take baby steps. That message resonates really strong right now. Baby steps is the way to go. Giant leaps might not be the moment for that, but baby steps, it's just like you're laying this foundation, this very slow foundation, but it's all for a reason. Maybe none of the baby steps fully make sense. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I find that a
Exactly.
lot. Like I'm asked, like when and I know a lot of you here that are live. Hey, Linda, I saw your hello. Um, are used to like, I call it, Wendy, I call it this like riding the bike with your soul, where like you start to let your heart lead your life and you really choose everything that you're doing from that heart-led place. And it's definitely a different frequency, a different way to live your life. Like all the changes that you've made lately and the ones that I'm getting ready to make and all of those things come from that trusting place where we're listening to our heart and our heart is saying, okay, here's the next step, here's the next step. And sometimes they don't make sense is what's coming to
Exactly.
me. Sometimes
Because
you're like,
we
I don't
always want to
understand
figure it out,
why
right?
I'm doing this,
Well, because I think we're
from
still
the thought
filtering through
level.
our, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say
Yeah.
we filter it through our ego, right? And our
Yeah.
ego's like, no, 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 that sounds like outside your comfort zone, and we don't want that, right? But when you let the ego just be kind of, sorry, my cat is like joining us and she's pushing on the surface. I have this on. She's just so, she always wants to be part of this. Lost
I
my
see
train
your
of thought,
tail.
but that's okay.
She's here.
Yeah. Isis is here. The goddess is in the house. But yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, she derailed me.
No, it's okay. It was perfect.
It'll come. It'll
come back if it's meant to.
Oh,
yeah,
I
Isis
say,
needed to make her presence known.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she's always here when I'm doing stuff like this. And so, yeah, I was going to say quick too, is just, that we're in that time of still inner work, taking care of ourselves. We're really good at it now. I don't know, the one thing we do, I think that the most harmful thing we can do is think we're doing something wrong and sit in that energy for too long. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Oh, I missed the full moon. I laugh out, people say, oh, well, I didn't do a ritual for the full moon. I missed that gateway. You didn't miss anything. You don't have to ever worry about that. That's silly. That's a belief that somebody else has that has, spread. But as far as like right now, we're going to start gearing up toward this spring, new year reset energy. And what I see for the rest of 2022 is a lot of action and movement. And so we need this rest right now to be ready for that. So I'll just allow yourself, just know that it's coming, that this movement is coming.
Absolutely.
And I know we're all itching for it.
Linda's saying, oh my gosh, it's your cat. I was missing a cat and thought she was in trouble. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she just went up there and started scratching the top of that.
She does that. I let her scratch that because these are I'm in a fifth wheel and these are just god awful ugly. So I'm like, yeah, go for it. Scratch those as much as you want because they're coming down soon.
Oh my god.
So that's her scratching post. She knows she's allowed. Yeah. And she headbutts me.
Oh,
yeah.
She's so
the
cute.
Snow moon. I don't know if we mentioned that. It was the snow moon.
It was a snow moon and appropriately named, I feel like, with how much snow
for you guys. Yeah.
We've been having. Yeah. Well, yeah. And so much of the country, I think, has just been under these, heavy snowstorms and snow warnings and watch. Like, it's like every time I look at my phone, it's like some sort of watch or warning or whatever. It's just like crazy. Yeah. And it's funny how it is disruptive, right, to our routines. And I feel like that's on purpose for like this, like continue
thinking you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking you have to do. Cause like even today, like, you and I were planning this and I was trying to get everything settled and ready. And then they did a late start for school. And I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's like that continual, like, okay, surrender to this moment, what's going on in this moment. I feel like with any of this stuff, like in the last 2 years, it's like you can't really, and it forces us to live in the moment, right? Like we cannot plan too far ahead because everything's changing so fast.
Will derail it.
What things are going to look like in a week from now, just with everything that's been going on globally, right? So it's like, it is kind of a forced in the moment energy, right? Like, like don't plan too far ahead because
it's right. And
I don't know if that's even going to happen, that thing.
Right. And it's forcing us to not have so much on our schedule so that initially at the beginning of this whole phase, right? I don't even like to say what started it, right? Because it's all for a beautiful reason, but the last 2 years. At the beginning, everybody was freaking out. People were freaking out because they were having to homeschool, and what do I do with my kids all day? And, as a homeschooler, speaking as a homeschooler, I was totally in that energy before I started homeschooling too. It's like whenever they'd have school canceled, I'd be like, what am I going to do with them all day? And so I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying everybody should homeschool. I never would ever say that. But a lot of people chose to keep homeschooling then when it was all over. And people who sent their kids back, great. Your kids, I had a client the other day and she was like, well, I just feel, I think she felt she was judging herself. And so she felt like I was judging her, but I was not at all in any way. But we have a lot of self-judgment, right? And she was saying, well, my kids, I just feel like my kids, they can't be here. I need them to be at school. And I said, that's great. I said, and look at it this way too. These beautiful children, these beautiful souls that are coming in now with very little karma, right? And the ones being born now have zero karma, and these kids with very little karma, their energy is needed in that construct, the educational construct that is falling. It is dissolving, right? It's going through I don't even see transformation so much. I feel like it's got to crumble and then it will be rebuilt. Their energy is needed there. And if they're fine, right? If they're fine, then why are you beating yourself up?
I agree with that. I'm one of those people, and I've told you that. Yeah. I feel like and my kids are,
and
happy
your kids
with.
Love that.
They do like it, but there's a lot of things that they've taught me and shown me that are not good, or maybe good's not the right word, that are broken about the system. Not good, bad, right, wrong, whatever. It's just, it's old, right? Like we've evolved.
Yeah, that doesn't feel aligned anymore.
Yeah. It's not aligned. There you go. And they've shown that to me through their experiences, right? And, I've told you, I feel like I'm one of the moms that's meant to just I have to be a part of this system while it's going through its thing. And sometimes it's really hard, right? And I have to stand up and I have to say uncomfortable things. And and I have to look at uncomfortable things. I have to go through things with my kids, and my kids have to go through things that are uncomfortable. And, as far as their learning is concerned, and it's hard, but I know that's part of my journey is to be a part of that right now. Well, it transforms. And like you said, it's breaking down and then being rebuilt. So it's just interesting that we're all called to, like you said, different pockets of this, so you're very much leading the homeschool movement as far as what does that look like? And I know you're really involved with a lot of people in that movement, and that's amazing. And then here I am, knowing about that and knowing how awesome it is, but I have these kids that want to be part of the, public school system. And they, and
my older two went to public school. Yeah. And they thrived. They thrived in public school. I don't want to say thrive. My oldest got through, but I could never have homeschooled him. He has told many people that he dodged that bullet because he was already out of the house before I started homeschooling. but it's about that energy, where your energy's needed. And the crazy thing is you and I have always been so freaking aligned in our spiritual journeys, yet we're leading these two very different lives. When we go home, when we separate, we try to get together as much. When we go home and separate, we're in very different places, but we've been so aligned. So it's just, for me, it's proof that there's really, it can look, what do they say? Awakening, however many ways to do awakening is however many souls there are on the planet. I mean, everybody's going to do it very differently, but it doesn't mean you don't have to have mirrored lives to resonate with somebody on a deep level.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's so true.
And this energy too is about, because we have the internet, because we have these resources. Yeah, we're not being pulled, there's so many memes out there, and so many more people have come out and resonating with the term of introvert, right? And how, they don't really want to go out and party and go to gatherings and stuff, but we're connecting through this technology, right? More and more and more. And really, I don't want to say thinning our herd, but really, like you were saying, the purging has also got to do with people, right? Anybody on the fringe of your soul group is just going to fall away now. And I don't even feel like, for the most part, there's obviously there's going to be close relationships that need to go, but for the most part, it's not going to take any effort on your part. You've done all the work now. What have we been doing the last 2 years? We've been doing nothing but this soul searching inner work. So You've done it. Pat yourself on the back, because everybody's done just amazing.
I'm gonna pat myself.
Yeah, we're doing so great.
Pat yourself, everybody. We're doing good.
Doing so good. We're doing so good. Just remember, I always try to remind myself how far I've come.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I don't even know who that person was even 2 years ago, even at the beginning of this. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been listening, that song, I think I might have texted it to you too. Let Her Go. Anyway, I don't know. Check it out. I can't even think of who sings it. It's a pretty recent song, like probably within the last 5 years, I would say.
Okay.
And I've been listening to it because of what you're saying. Like, I have to let go of that me, the me that wanted certain things, and certain things were important to her, and had certain goals, and created certain things in the world that aren't aligned with me now. Right. And I have to let go of her. And so if I feel like part of my healing process has been just listening to this song called Let Her Go. And I know it's probably written in the way of like a love song, but I think of it differently. I think of it as like, let her go. I think of it as more of like a self-love song. Yeah. Listen to it with that lens, you guys, and let me know.
I'm going to write that down.
What you think of it. If it resonates for you too. It comes up a lot for me, and I feel like it helps me to remember to continue to let her go, that person that I was, right? And it's especially, I think it's kind of bizarre too, because I feel like in some ways, let me know, you guys, if you resonate with this, like in some ways, for myself, I was the most inauthentic right before my awakening. And it might just be my perspective, right? But it feels like in like some of those things that I was aligned with were like the most far away from where I am now. Like when I'm looking at scanning my whole life, it's just kind of bizarre. I don't know if anyone else has had that experience. Linda says,
it's almost like our guides. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. What is
Linda?
Linda say?
I was just going to say, she said that she's letting go. I'm in the process of clearing out my apartment, downsizing so that all my belongings fit into my car. Wow. Talk about letting go. Wendy, tell us about your experience of doing that you just went through.
Yeah, we lived in a 3,400 square foot house, and we're kind of bursting out of that. And we are now in a 42-foot fifth wheel. And everything, we didn't sell everything. I know a lot of people do that. We are planning on getting a house, again, and not having that big of a place, but everything went into storage, and we are really appreciating, the lack of just all this clutter and all this. Yeah. And so I'm not down to a car, but I that is really inspirational, because we have a son who's in the Navy. He's kind of an adopted son who's in the Navy, and he's a minimalist. And even at like 17, he lived with us for a while. He's one of my son's best friends. And he would at 17, he was listening to podcasts about minimalism. And so he literally fits everything he owns in a backpack. Wow. And he's 22 now, young guy. And so I love it when the younger people are figuring it out and being kind of paving the way. And I'm not saying we're all going to be doing that, right? And living out of a backpack, but honestly, there are days where I'm like, I think that's what I want. I kind of think that's what I want. No, I don't know. I don't know if I can part with my Oracle decks, because they wouldn't fit in a backpack, but
yeah. Wow.
But that's really an inspiration. So that's wonderful, Linda. That's really awesome. I love that energy of purging everything you don't need anymore.
Yep. Yeah. I've been, and like
I
we
think
were
we're
saying,
all doing it.
when we first popped on, like I've just been intuitively just wanting, like the toxicity thing, like I picked up an old cleanse. I was telling Wendy a cleanse that I had in the freezer, because on the package it said you could reuse it. If you froze it, you could reboil the same, and it was all these different roots, is a kidney one. And I just was like, oh, there's that, like I popped it out of the freezer and got out the big pan and like reboiled the whole thing and got it all ready to go again. And I've been on it now for like the last 4 days. I can definitely tell, and I'm waking up in the morning and like, I'm puffy, right? Because it's all releasing, like, so my body's reacting to like these toxins, like as they're leaving my body. So I'm like remembering to drink more water and stuff. And then I've been going through items too, like purging. I'm not as much as Linda's saying, but I've been purging out a lot of items, like, going down by like half, I feel like, in my spaces, like taking it down to half.
Well, we still have kids at home. Is it Linda Dillman? I can't see the comments.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because you don't have any kids at home anymore, do you, Linda? Because I'm like, well, we have kids at home still, Angie. That's why we can't purge that much, right?
Not,
We can't.
not all the way. Yeah.
They need their stuff, you know.
Right.
And I have
Right
3
now.
animals, so it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's, there are some things that we just will need for a while yet. But yeah, the purge is happening on every level.
It
And
is.
when is the best time to purge? When we're hibernating, when we're in a still state. Like, you know, the message since the beginning of the year that I have been getting big time is continually learn to get into that 0 point, learn to find your center space, right? Your void space, your neutral space, as often as you can be in that space, because that is the space of its neutrality, but it's also where you're tuning into your pure self, right? Your highest self. So then when you're not in that space, you're still purging to get you back to that space. And your body's going to do, and your energy, your situation, your whole field is going to do whatever it needs. When you keep going back to that space, it's going to, oh, I like that. I want to keep going there. But when you can't be there, you know, we have 3D stuff we have to deal with. When you can't be there, and we can be from in our heart space, but you can't always be like this, right? We can't live our lives like the Tibetan monks in the caves, right? But the body will be like, oh, I want to go back to that. What do I have to do? And so it, you know, it's purging every level. Every level is purging. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think
and
that's
it's
Linda's
intuitive
got
how
to
we're
be
doing it.
feeling lighter than ever, just going through the process, you know.
A lot of
I know
letting
that
go.
happened for me.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you bring that up, that void space, because I don't know if you remember, Wendy, you know, when I was first having those massive experiences with, like, you know, the biggest heart openings I was having, and like that really feeling like that 9th dimensional energy in my heart, right? And expanding it outward. But honestly, and I know I didn't miss the boat, like it's all still there, but honestly, I rejected it because of the void feeling. Like it really is that feeling of like, you know, you're everything, like that huge expanded feeling, but it's nothing, right? Like it is serenity and it is peace and it's all of that, but it's like the nothingness of the void. And so I feel like my ego and like my mental body in some ways rejected it a lot. And I would like I would kind of like disrupt something in my life to get that kind of like drama feeling, you know, like like I'm gonna like I want to feel something. I know. And I think back on that and I'm like, wow, that is so silly. But knowing what I know now, I understand what I was going through, and I was anchoring in and I was open to that 9th dimensional energy. And I just, because it just like anything, because I wasn't used to it, right? I sort of rejected
Your
it.
ego told you it was scary.
Of course, I didn't fully reject it. And I loved the feeling of it. And, but it's funny because I feel like in some ways I made things harder than they needed to be for myself in the, you know, year following that, because I wasn't like really surrendered into it. And now I get it. And like, I'm,
now you can
open more.
activate it.
Right? So if that's happening for any of you guys, I don't know.
And I think at that time
such
too,
an interesting thing to go through.
Yeah. And I think at that time too, you were really bringing it all in. And, you know, they do a lot of, you know, we've talked about this before, is they do a lot, our guides, the universe, they'll do a lot of where they'll dump downloads in us in kind of a timed release capsule kind of thing. And so we're holding all this extra energy, but we can't access it yet because we're not ready. But they have to, it's like we're ready to receive. We're just not ready to open it up yet. And so it'll open up when we're ready, right? When our energy is aligned to the energy of the next bit of information that can come out. And so they're always just like pouring the stuff in. And it doesn't mean that we are necessarily ready to, you know, access it all in that moment. But yeah, you were definitely bringing it all in at that time.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. And I love what you said, because I had this image, and I think this is an image that you gave me at one time in one video somewhere along our journey. I remembered like the way you saw like these the light codes or the downloads or whatever. I don't remember if it was light codes or downloads or something that we were receiving was like these little packets, you know, that were kind of like waiting to drop in. And it was just this, and I've used that image like in, you know, things that I'm doing, or if I'm trying to explain something or whatever since then, because I loved it so much. It was like this little, and I did see it like that too, like when you were explaining it, like this little delivery is
Yeah.
coming down, you know, like
Little
it's like
pouch.
a drone
Little pouch
delivery.
of magic. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this was amazing. Is there anything
Looking
else
at my notes.
that is coming to you to wrap this up?
No, I mean, we're coming into I almost want to do another live with you maybe next week, because, you know, the 22nd, we're coming to the end of that portal, the 2nd through the 22nd. And I don't know what I actually haven't super tuned into it, because I've just been trying to surrender without trying to figure out everything, right? But I do like to know, like, what other people are saying, what other people are seeing. You know, as far as what this portal is doing for us. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a big purge, right? If it's if it is aligned with that. But with the 22nd, you know, supposedly is kind of the end of the portal, but the energy is never going to leave, right? We're going to get all this flooding of energy. And so we're right in the midst of that right now. And so there's that. I mean, I just feel like there's so much going on that, of course, it's all related, but it's like we're being bombarded from every angle with all this different stuff. But it's all coming down to shedding what no longer serves us, right? That's the whole journey is, and with this moon being in Leo too, you know, Leo, we sometimes, it's masculine. Yes. We sometimes see it as, oh, action, move. I think it's more courage right now. I think the Leo full moon was more about bringing in courage to actively, not a huge action energy, but to actively, sorry, my cat's demanding my attention to actively purge, right? Yeah, like you said, it's a lot of it's on autopilot, a lot of it's going to be easy, but just set an intention to say, okay, I'm ready to shed all of this that is no longer serving me. And it is for a lot of people, you know, me included, there's a lot of big decisions and a lot of big changes that are still yet to come, you know. But right now it's okay to just kind of sit where you are. Like a mantra that I use all the time that is really easy, but it's been a game changer for me, is I allow myself to feel this way. I allow myself to sit in this energy right now, as long as I need to. And if it's at the bottom of a pit, then it's at the bottom of a pit. But I'm far enough along in this journey now where I'm like, it's almost delicious to sit in the bottom of that pit, because I know that's where the growth is, right? I know that big stuff is happening, and I know that I'm going to climb out of it. And so we're still in the midst of this just huge transformational energy. But I promise March is going to lighten up a lot. We're going to get a little break in March is what I'm seeing. Again, we're going to dive back down. Like the 2022 is huge for the change makers. Cool. Like this is really kind of and I know we've been doing a lot internally and connecting and collaborating, but I feel like the second half of this year is going to be really the beginning of our big missions. What we came here to do, you're going to start to see these things starting to manifest. And the thing is you have to let go now. You're being asked to let go right now of what you think that's going to look like, and just focus on how you want to feel, right? Let go of what, like I've realized that, you know, I've had this, excuse me, my throat's going crazy, right? As I'm just even thinking about it. I've had this healing center in mind, right? And I even like drew it out one day on paper, what I wanted to look, and I have to let go of all of that. I have to let go of what I even imagine it looking like, because the universe has got even better stuff in store. Like if we focus on, and yes, you can manifest. If you focus on a specific thing, you can manifest it. But what if the universe had something even better planned and you ignored that and manifested this lesser thing, even though it was what you wanted? Because we can't even fathom what we deserve, what we can manifest, right? And so we have to let go of what we think. She's like, I'm going to step up here. We have to let go. She's just trying to figure out. She probably hears your voice. She knows your voice. But, you know, we have to let go of all of it, and just surrender to the whole journey, and beautiful stuff is coming. So I just feel like, we're coming to the end of the tumultuous, right? The really chaotic part of it.
I feel like since the solstice, right? It just catapulted us into this.
Yes.
Kind of.
Cow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
really like looking
tough.
And releasing toxic patterns is what.
And it's felt like 5 years since
it has.
Since the solstice. Yeah.
Yes. It's felt like 5 seconds and 5 years at the same time, which is so bizarre.
Agreed.
So before I forget, tell us again, how can people find out more about the Empath Ritual Circle community?
Okay.
And is there a link that you can post? Okay.
So we have it's kind of a sample page of what, when you go in, I don't know if you don't know what Circle is, it is an online community, kind of like Facebook, but it is only for communities. You can't just have an individual account. And so we created our community there because we wanted to get away from there's a lot of negative energy on Facebook and the kind of the standard things. And you can create a community there that's secure and safe. And what we do there is then it's called the Lightwalker community. And we upload the meditation. There's a lot of other tools too. And you can post in there, you can ask for support, you can offer support, you can comment, you can like, it's very much like Facebook. But we also put, that's where we upload the meditation every month. On the first of every month, I upload the meditation for that month's energies. And it is a guided meditation spoken by beautiful Anthea, who lives in Australia. She has a lovely accent and she's just lovely to listen to. And she's very soothing. She does a lot of inner child work. And so she's just a very kind of warm energy. And she does the guided meditation. My soul brother, John, does a healing sound frequency that is embedded in the meditation, and then puts music on top of that. And we provide a mandala that you can gaze at while you're listening. I provide an essential oil recipe. Like you said, I do the forecast, so you kind of know what's coming. And then we also do color and crystal recommendations for the month. So if you get all of that, it's $11 a month, and it's just automatically uploaded. And there's an app. The app is great. I just click on the app. It takes me right to that month's information. But yeah, to join, I guess right now we're still trying to, we do have a sample page. I think I'll link it in here when we're done. That'll take you to what it looks like, what the content looks like. But because it's a paid community, obviously it's kind of hard to get little sneak peeks, but just shoot me a message if you want more information, or if you want to try it for a month. There's no obligation. You can try it for a month and cancel. It's whatever you want to do. But yeah, you can try it out. Just let me know, and I can send you the links that you need. But it's a beautiful community, and I do try to share little, I haven't done it in a while, but every once in a while I'll share one aspect of the meditation just on my Facebook, public profile, just to kind of share some of that information so that everybody has it. But we wanted to create a safe space. Was really important to us, where none of that negativity and low vibe stuff really can get in. And so it's a safe place to talk about your journey and to go and access. And the meditation's 10 minutes max. We're keeping it short and sweet and simple. You can do it any time of the day. And you don't even need to do all aspects. Sometimes I just sometimes I just wear the color. Sometimes I just listen to the guided meditation. So it's you can do the pieces parts, or you can do all of them at once. So it's a multi-sensory. We tried to hit every sense when we were creating this. And we have an amazing intuitive artist who does the mandalas, and she's a crystal guru. And then so it's an incredible team that we put together. And it's my baby right now.
Yeah, check it out, you guys. It is really cool. It's such a great spot to kind of get I like what it reminds me of is your forecast for the whole month, and the tools that are going to help you and assist you, along with all the other tools that you're using. So anyway, check it out. Definitely link that, whatever you said that sample thing that you have is, and then however they can sign up. I'll have Wendy put it in the comments for you guys after we hang up.
Yeah,
this was
so
fun.
Always.
This was so fun. Oh my gosh,
Always.
I love the stuff that was coming up. This was so neat. I love to just free flow like this, whatever is coming up.
Always the right information comes through. It's just, I know everybody's feeling it. I just want everybody to know that, somebody said that. I think I was listening to Feel Good, and somebody said something about, the more you feel like you're the only one going through your specific situation, the more people are actually going through the exact specific situation. So, we often isolate, it's self-isolation, really. We feel so isolated and alone sometimes. We're doing that to ourselves, Absolutely. And that you can hibernate, and you can go in without also taking on that loneliness, right? There's a difference between solitude and loneliness. Yeah. And so I just know that we are all feeling this. We are all having some real, what was it? January was super bipolar. It was my forecast. It was you're going to feel like you're going crazy. And if you're feeling this, just hang in there, because we are going to start reaping the rewards if you're not already. I mean, I'm hoping everybody is already, but
Yeah.
but feeling the energy just kind of anchoring, just kind of settling down a little bit. But we're still in the midst of a huge transformation. So just hang in there, and reach out to people for support so that you don't forget that you're not doing this alone. Because we can easily get into that space. We're like, nobody understands.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. Paula says, so much love to you all. So nice to see
Hi,
you.
Paula.
Betty says, yes. Sherry says, they're talking about the space. Sounds beautiful. Sounds like a nice space.
It's lovely. We love it.
Yeah. So they were talking about empath ritual. Awesome. Well,
I will
thank
link
you
that
all
for sure.
for joining us.